Okay, so let's talk about Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree by A.E. Housman, right? So let's first of all read the poem. Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree by A.E. Housman. Farewell to barn and a stack and tree. Farewell to seven shoe. Terence, look your last at me, for I come home no more. The sun burns on the half-mown hill. By now the blood is dried, and Maurice amongst the hay lies still, and my knife is in his side. My mother thinks us long away. 'Tis time the field were mown. She had two sons at rising day. Tonight she'll be alone. And here is a bloody hand to shake. And oh man, here is goodbye. We'll sweat no more on scythe and rake, my bloody hands and I. I wish you strength to bring you pride, and a love to keep you clean. And I wish you luck come lamb's tide at raising on the green. Long for me the rick will wait, and long will wait the fold, and long will stand the empty plate, and dinner will be cold. So think about this poem. What are your views? What are the main ideas the writer brings out? Okay, so Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree by A.E. Housman is actually basically a poem about two brothers and what happens to them. So this poem is categorized under the theme of conflict. And when it comes to conflict, there are different types of conflicts that are described through the poem. Some are domestic domestic setting conflicts, some are wars. In this poem, we actually see a domestic scenario and especially a triangular love, right? So we'll think about it. We'll discuss this further, right? Think about the first and the first few stanzas and think about this a little bit further until we start discussing. Right, okay. So, Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree. Let's look at the first stanza. Farewell to barn and a stack and tree. Farewell to seven shores. So in the first stanza, actually, we see that there is a speaker who is saying goodbye. So for most of the things around him. So for an example, he says that farewell, goodbye to all the things around me. What are the things around him? The stack or the pile of objects, maybe hay, tree, seven shore is the name of the place. So from everything and everyone, he is taking leave, right? So when we look at the places and the things that he explains actually, we can understand this is a very rural city. Terence, look your last at me, for I come home no more. So Terence can be a very close friend, maybe a horse also, we don't know exactly. But anyway, it's a kind of a very close character for the speaker. So throughout the poem, we also identify the sad tone that continues. He's like so much worried about something. Still, we don't know why is he worried. The sun burns on the half-mown hill. By now the blood is dry, and Maurice amongst the hay lies still, and my knife is in his side. So now we realize the reason what has happened. The sun burns on the half-mown hill. They were doing some work, right? Probably harvesting, doing the work in the field, and the work is undone or half done. All of a sudden, a problem has come up. What is the problem? Probably there is a murder. Maurice is lying on the hay and the knife, my knife, is in his side. So nothing like, murder, killing, those things are not used directly as words, but we can imagine and realize what has happened. So my knife is a very strong term. And also, more is amongst the hairlines. So we understand it's a dead body. So now we can actually read between the lines and realize that, okay, there has been a murder. And the speaker is very much responsible for that. Now the story can be put together. The incidents can be put together. My mother thinks us long away, this time the field were mowed. She had two sons at rising day, tonight she'll be alone. So on one hand, we very directly realize the tragedy or the dilemma of a young man who is dead. Maurice is dead. On the other hand, we get enlightened about the dilemma or the tragedy of the speaker. If he has killed someone, his future is not going to be so easy. His consciousness is not going to be something easy for him to bear up, because he will feel very much guilty conscious. On the other hand, there is the other tragedy, the tragedy of the mother whose sons will not return home. Every night she will stay waiting hopefully, but quite unexpectedly and also quite surprisingly at her olden days or during her dotage, she has lost her son. So there is another tragedy. And here is a bloody hand to shake. And oh man, here is goodbye. Will sweat no more on sit and rake my bloody hands and I. So he is referring to his hands. So there is no blood. Blood has dried or he has washed his hands. But still, figuratively, there is blood. He feels there is blood. Blood is smeared everywhere in his hands. Why? He has done something wrong. With that action comes a guilty consciousness. And he knows that hereafter he cannot ever stay in the village and do the work anymore as well. I wish you strength to bring you pride, and a love to keep you clean. And I wish you luck come lamb's tide at raising on the green. So he is wishing everyone, there are two or several meanings here. I wish you strength. So to whom is he wishing? He is basically wishing, it is identified by the critics that he is basically wishing the girl. I wish everyone also, especially the girl and everyone, to have what? Love to keep you clean. He wants everyone and even the girlfriend, to have clean love, right? And I wish you luck come lamb's tide. And then the celebrating time, the harvesting time is come. Everyone is happy. The environment shows prosperity. Now we find the root cause of the whole murder, of the whole case. So there was a problem regarding what? Unfaithful love. Because this word, love to keep you clean. Now we can, put together all the ends of the incident. So probably it was a story of two brothers because one mother, right? So there are two brothers who would have probably loved and admired a girl. And that issue, that triangle love has increased some kind of a hot-tempered situation and they have fought with each other. One is dead, the other one is repenting. Long for me the rick will wait, and long will wait the fool, and long will stand the empty plate, and dinner will be cool. Everything at home will wait. The plate, the mother, everyone, everything will wait. But the speaker is never going to come back home. Why? He can't come back. He can be scared of the punishment. He cannot look at his mother. He cannot give forgiveness to himself. He cannot face the friends and the neighbors and the villagers. He cannot even see the girlfriend because of her also this has happened. And also he cannot forgive himself. First thing, or the most important thing is that, so he wants to run away. We don't know where is he going, but we understand he's going to a faraway place, probably never to return. And still, we don't know even whether he is going to commit suicide. That much shock has come after the incident. So throughout the poem, the writer only talks about just one incident, a kind of a death scene. But through that incident, through that crime, see how many things the writer is talking to you about. Different types of tragedies, the psychology or the mentality of a young boy. And also the results of sudden anger, and also the fact that how someone may be a criminal, any human, how he or she is thinking. Once a mistake is done, how that mistake or the error sometimes cannot be corrected. So the importance of thinking twice, etc. So it looks like a simple poem about a boy who kills another boy, but it goes beyond that. So basically, when you take the sense of the poem, the poet who refers to a domestic related conflict suggests a triangular love affair, which has resulted in the killing of one brother by the other. On one side, unfaithful love, dishonesty, and inability to keep promises, and infidelity, not faithful, can be identified. And on the other hand, rash decisions, very quick ideas, which cause tragedies, can be seen. So thus, throughout the poem, the poet describes how the brother who is alive says goodbye to the things he associated, and how he moves away from the past, pleasant memories with sadness and also repentance. So theme-wise, the writer brings out the theme of conflict, sudden anger, and consequences. And as techniques-wise, we find a very conversational tone. It's as if the speaker is talking to us, right? Closer to us. It's sort of like he's confessing, Papa Charne Kirima. And also there's a melancholic tone, very like brooding, reflecting sort of tone. There is realism. These are things that can happen, have happened, and will happen as well. And visual imagery are very powerful. So we see the, barn, we see the stack entry, we can see the terrace, we can see the two boys, we can see the knife and the dead body. We can see a poor mother waiting for the boys to return. And those are very powerfully brought out throughout the poem. And symbolism wise, especially barn and stack and tree symbolize a rural rustic life. The young boy symbolizes the youngsters who take rash decisions. Right? So like that, throughout the poem, we find lots of techniques like that as well. And if you actually try to answer this question, that would give you a very good idea about the poem. Explain the tragedy depicted in the poem Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree. So the keywords of the question are tragedy, right? Tragedy, basically one keyword is there. So what is the tragedy? You have to identify first of all and define the tragedy. So tragedy is a sad incident. Tragedy is where something ends in a very sad way, or maybe someone is harmed, someone we love is harmed. So that's a kind of tragedy in a story. And or the hero is kind of having a big issue by the end. And probably tragedy is associated with death, separation as well. Separation can be temporary separation or permanent separation, in other words, death. Right? So in this, after the definition, actually, you can describe the types of tragedy, right? So the tragedy of the boy who is alive, who will never have a happy life because he has to fight with his own conscience, his guilt for what he has done. He will never have a free life. He will be, he will be punished for his mistake, or rather for the wrong deed that he has done. And he cannot even face his mother. So he is every day he has to every day live in fear and pain and repentance. So that is a tragedy. It's like, a man who is alive is almost dying every minute. That's real tragedy. And then the tragedy of the boy who is dead. Real tragedy, untimed death. He just loved a girl, and because of that, he had to die. So we do not know the real situation of this story. Maybe the girl was the culprit. The girl might have been really unfaithful and loved both brothers and made them fight, right, because of her pride, because she thought she was beautiful, etc. So we don't know the exact story, but we know something has happened, and the boy is dead. Maurice is dead. So that is tragedy. How much a painful death was that, to get stabbed and died. So that is real tragedy, painful death. Then the tragedy of the mother, explain that, don't just explain, the mother is waiting for the children. Exemplify that, tell that a mother is a person whose life, whose whole world is his children. And when the children are not there, okay, let's say one has died like Maurice has died, but what about the other? Even that boy is not coming home. So throughout her life, what has she done? She has raised the kids. Even the grown-ups, they are used to come home and eat, and she's ready with the plate. So you can understand the domestic daily scenario. And that kind of a mother is going to live all alone throughout her life, without security, without protection, love, and care. So that is tragedy. In her needy days, when she is old and in need of help, she is not going to get it. So like that, explain the three scenarios. Actually, they depict three types of tragedies also. And also, in every situation where you deal with a tragedy, don't forget to tell what is the technique used. Now, for an example, when you describe the tragedy of Maurice, I see one of the main techniques is a visual imagery. We visualize a dead body of a young man, maybe the shirt is soaked with blood and he is on the field. The field is half done or half mown here. So you get that idea, you get that fear, you get the pain, you see the baseless depth in your eyes. So that's the power of visual imagery. And then we see a young man, the other brother who is alive, right? So you visualize that. So visual imagery is very powerfully used. And also you can see symbolism. All the three characters symbolize, right? The mother symbolizes the people, especially old mothers who suffer because of the wrong deeds of their own adult sons, right? So like that, always bring out the technique that is used to highlight the particular tragedy as well. So when you're answering, remember those tips.